Welcome back to the starting lineup. We just went through the entire AFC East, very exciting division in football. We're going to shift to another pretty exciting division, the NFC West, which I feel like is a very mixed bag this year. I mean, we have possibly one of the best teams in the NFL in the 49ers. We also have probably one of the worst teams in the NFL in the Arizona Cardinals, and we kind of have both in betweens, but the Rams and
Two teams,
Seahawks
that we don't. Yeah.
kind of right in the middle. Like we have everything
Well,
from
the
Super
question is,
Bowl
will the Rams
contender,
be able to rebound?
playoff contender, like non-playoff team, and lottery darlings, I guess, in the Cardinals. But I mean, I think it's a foregone conclusion that
Hey, you never know. The
they're gonna
Cardinals could go
they're
17-0 and win the whole thing.
you never
You never
know.
know.
I feel like most people expect them to just get the number one overall pick and kind of be done with it and get Caleb Williams. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on whether Kyler Murray ends up playing or when he ends up playing for them this season, I guess. Because even then, like they're probably going to really struggle. They're
I
just
mean,
don't have the talent. But
he'll probably
without him, they're going to be in
Kyler Murray
big
will probably
trouble.
come in later.
Yeah, he'll probably come back within the first few weeks or so. What did he have last season? He missed like a ton of time, right? He was injured, and
2018.
then
He missed a ton of games with
against
injuries
the Patriots.
before.
ouch. All right, yeah. So then I
I mean,
guess
before that, like he missed a lot of games.
yeah. Yeah. So I guess he's still dealing with those injuries. The Cardinals are riding with Colt McCoy, as Kyler's backup.
Or the new draft or the new guy they drafted.
Pick, right?
I thought he retired a couple years ago.
Yeah,
That's
the
what
guy
happened.
who they drafted as well. I think. Yeah, Clayton Tune,
Clayton
I think that's his
Tune.
name from
Yeah,
Houston. Fully
interesting.
possibility.
Yeah, they did draft him. But I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, the Cardinals. I
Mhm.
mean, they got James Conner. I mean, he's pretty good, I guess. They got Buda Baker. They've got Zach Ertz still, who's listed
Well,
as out right now.
for now
Marquise
they've got Buda
Brown.
Baker.
Yeah, yeah. They might end up trading him or something later on.
And Hollywood Brown is not worth the first round pick. The Ravens.
Like, well, when it's coupled with the top 100 pick, maybe I guess you can make an argument, but I didn't think that was a good deal at all.
Of course not. That was a great deal for Baltimore. A
Baltimore,
great
yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
But if anything, the Cardinals are set up for next year because
Oh yeah, they have the
I mean, of
Houston's
course,
pick. They have their own pick.
this will probably be the worst year for the Cardinals since like 2017. But like
2018, I think 2018.
oh no, 2018 was when they were absolutely worse. But they're set up in the sense that like you remember the draft day trade with the Texans where they
Yes, they
have to, yeah.
Houston screwed up there by not giving Cleveland's pick instead of their own pick next year.
So
and
the Cardinals should be set up. So the Cardinals
should have two top.
It might go
they
one
should
and
have two
two.
top 5 picks.
Yeah,
no, I don't think the Texans will be that bad.
They might have. Yeah, I mean, they have Will Anderson.
There's a possibility for there's a possibility for two top 5 picks.
The Texans are forming like a young nucleus right now. Like they've got CJ Stroud as their future quarterback for now.
Right.
They've got Will Anderson as their
they're probably not going to be that
they're
bad.
Nick Bosa.
I see an improvement.
But at the same time, if there is a positive, like both of those picks have a high likelihood to be in the top 5.
That's true.
It's not that the Texans, the Texans,
I would say, like top 5 for sure.
The Texans could be good, but like their schedule is also like pretty brutal this year as well.
I think at the worst, maybe it'll be like you have a top 5 pick, and then maybe like a 12th overall pick. I think that's the absolute
from Cleveland, yeah,
and it's still solid.
But Arizona, I mean, like Arizona, like there's gonna be one of them is gonna be top 3 pick, the other is gonna be somewhere between 5 and 10. If they trade down from either of those spots, they could get a few future first rounders as well. So they have to be smart in that location. So I think they're not gonna be good.
I think honestly just blow it up because Buda Baker definitely does not want to be here. Like you can get a good return for Buda Baker. I mean, of course, you can't really trade Kyler Murray because one, he's your franchise corner. 2, franchise cornerstone, I should say. 2, no one's going to take on his deal when he's been fairly Jekyll and Hyde over the past couple of years. And 3, now that he has injury history, good luck managing that. 4th, you got a new head coach and a first-time GM. It's going to be rough for the Cardinals. It's going to be rough. Well, on paper,
and Gannon is like for the new head coach. I mean, everybody agrees that he was the product of the Eagles, just like pure talent. I mean, like there are a few. There's like Eagles Hall of Famers, and then very possibly Darius Slay is on the way to Canton as well someday. Very possible. That's just all the talent that surrounded him.
We got to see a couple more seasons before we can even say something.
Well, I mean, like he has the most pass breakups since he entered the league. He's a very good. I mean, like he might definitely make it someday. He's like he's very good, and like But the idea is like
let's stick to talking about one bird right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So the idea, yeah. So the idea is, this team, they're not going to be good this year. So, maybe in future years, yes, but can Gannon, be the guy he was in Philly, leading, a top 10, top 5 defense?
Definitely not.
But see, he has to, it's on. Remember, the onus is on him and Austin Ford. As a Patriots fan, Jitesh, we know Monty Austin Ford. He's big. He was with us for the early Super Bowl team. So if he can get all those talented free agents together, like Yannick Ngakoue is on the market, they should sign him. Like their edge rushers are basically gone.
I think ideally Yannick Ngakoue would like to sign with a team that has Super Bowl aspirations.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. But if you can give him a good amount of money, he's very young. He's still only like 28. If you can give him some money, you should definitely, give him a contract if he could. They have a lot of cap space. They're just not going to be good this year. They have talent that, pales in comparison to other teams. Speaking of talent, San Francisco, probably the most stacked roster in the league.
Except for one question mark.
Who's the damn quarterback? Who's the damn quarterback? Yeah. I think reports have been.
Here's your 3 options. You have Trey Lance, who's played for a grand total of like 9 seconds, and this is the same guy you traded an absolute premium for.
You quite literally gave the Dolphins Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. You gave the Chiefs, I think, Trent McDuffie. You gave the Eagles Devontae Smith, and you just screwed up. I mean, they should have taken Mac Jones at 3 instead of Trey Lance at 3. That would have.
I'm happy they didn't. I mean, I will say this before the draft. I wanted Justin Fields. Like that was me. I'm not ashamed to say that. I mean, Justin Fields is pretty raw. Still can climb up. But that's what I wanted the Patriots to pick. Of course, but
I mean, if Chicago gives you 2 first-rounders and both of them turn out to be better than the than the pick you traded up for, I think you kind of have to accept that deal. So the Giants got, I think, Evan Neal, Aaron Robinson, KT, who they turned into Darren Waller with that. Oh, that's a pretty good, that's what they did.
That's a win trade for the Giants right there. That's
a win trade for the Giants. That's a huge loss for Chicago. Yeah. But, they recouped most of that with the trade this year. So let's focus on the NFC West.
Yeah.
San Francisco, it is there are no holes on this roster. I mean, you have to, there are 2 big question marks right now. Yeah. There are 2 big question marks.
I'd say a big question mark is Kyle Shanahan. I'm not saying he sucks. I am not. Yeah. It's just that.
Yeah.
And this might be a very big insult to Kyle Shanahan, but he turns into Doc Rivers in January.
Yeah. Well, and because he needs to run when he needs to. He runs the ball when he needs to pass it. He he passes when we need to run. And Jitesh, we remember exactly what game that happened in, where he passed the ball instead of just running it. If he can fix those calls, I mean, he's good. I mean, would they have beaten the Eagles last year? I don't think so, but it could have been very probable.
There's a strong case to be made that Kyle Shanahan's the best coach in the league. There's a strong case to be made that
best offensive coach in the league.
5, at the absolute worst. But
yeah, I agree. But the other question mark I have is edge pressure. Nick Bosa deserves $30 million a year. And how are they going to fit, his, contract under what they already have? I mean, they had to trade DeForest Buckner because he was asking for a little bit too much.
Did you see the Rams and the Saints? I mean, come on, a couple of years ago, the Saints were $100 million over the cap, and they're still able to sign people. They were still able to Tyrann Mathieu. So
yeah, and they had to do that by almost cutting Michael Thomas.
yeah,
they said, "Hey, you have
Michael
to reduce
Thomas.
it."
Michael Thomas probably won't do anything. He's been off the field.
Well, let's keep the focus on the San Francisco. Yeah, they have a lot of contracts that they have to kind of deal with. I mean, like I'm not sure if I don't think they extended Brandon Ayuk, did they?
I don't believe so. I think this
I don't
is
make sense. So,
right?
Yeah, this should be his contract year, right? So, problem is you already extended Debo. Good on you. You used a lot of money to sign Javon Hargrave.
I like
now,
that
what are you gonna do with Nick Bosa, who's the best player, who's a top 5 player in this league? Like regardless of position, like he's amazing. Like like the comparisons for for D'Amico Ryans were enough to take Will Anderson because he needs there are two guys that are the most important. There are three of the most important guys in football. You need a quarterback. You need a guy protecting the quarterback, and you need a guy to get after the other quarterback. San Francisco.
I'd personally argue the three most important positions in the league: quarterback, tackle. I agree with you on that. And I'd say cornerback.
Well, I mean, you can't your corners. They can't play. Even what the Eagles did a lot of last year was they could exert pressure with 4 almost on 80-90% of snaps that their cornerbacks didn't have to do much, right? So you need somebody getting after the quarterback. You need somebody forcing the quarterback out of the pocket and making bad decisions. So I think that's why you need to pay Nick Bosa $32 million a year. You can't afford to trade him. He's too valuable.
No, you can move if the 49ers trade him, San Francisco is being burned to the ground.
Yeah, agreed. So they probably should not do that. That would be stupid. But you also have to extend, Brandon Ayuk, who's a legitimate, first option in most other offenses in the league. So you have to focus on that. But
of course, let's not forget San Francisco has one of the best linebackers in the league, Fred Warner.
Fred Warner. You also have Dre Greenlaw.
Yeah.
Those are two great players, and both of them, I think, and then you have Talanoa Hufanga, who I think he just made the top 100 list, and you have Charvarius Ward, you have so many other good cornerbacks that you can you have good talent all around. You just need to get those 2 question marks on your roster. Nobody's doubting your Super Bowl team. Just get that stuff done.
Well, like you said, at the end of the day, it comes down to Trey Lance, Brock.
Well, the quarterback. No, well, not even just the quarterback.
Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold,
I did not think Jimmy Garoppolo was all that terrible in San Francisco.
I didn't think so.
He really wasn't.
He wasn't. When he was healthy,
consistent.
He didn't get. Yeah, when he was healthy, they didn't get anything lower than an NFC Championship game berth. That's insane, right?
Yeah.
But when he was not healthy, though, they were, they had, double-digit loss seasons.
The 2020-2021 season for San Francisco, literally everybody was injured. That's if you count out that season, 2019 they go on a Super Bowl run, 2021 NFC Championship, 2022 NFC Championship, and who's at the helm all those times? Garoppolo. Well, I mean, Purdy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty last game. So, if you can fix those 2 questions on your roster, fix your play calling a little bit, especially in now I know he did really good. Shanahan did, good down the stretch against Dallas, but you need to do that in the big games. Otherwise you're done.
Here's the thing. I mean, aside from this is Sam Darnold's last chance to actually do something in the NFL. I mean, we already know he's a bust with the Jets, and he was great in Carolina for 3 games and then absolutely sucked. But here's the thing in those situations, the Jets, he was essentially given the keys to a 20-year-old Toyota Camry and was being told to drive 100 miles down the highway with only 20 miles of gas. Here, he's been given a Ferrari that has the I'm
loving this analogy.
He's been given the keys to a Ferrari that can charge while it goes, and it can go up to 2,000 miles in one go. He's been given that with Kyle Shanahan as his head coach. He's given that with Brandon Ayuk as his receiver, George Kittle as his tight end, and of course just the San Francisco team as a whole. if you don't do something with this, I don't know. Not only do you screw San Francisco out of a Super Bowl, you screwed up your entire career. Like,
yeah,
you're done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And look at what the Sam Darnold trade, got New York. They got them Brees Hall, and then even better, and then some even good value towards the end of the draft. I think it was a 2, a 4, and a 6. That's pretty impressive. You got a Pro Bowl caliber player.
I mean, the fact that you're able to fool Carolina for that draft capital for someone who's completely sucked, that's a win for the Jets. But
yeah,
I guess speaking of, wait, I missed this segue. Damn it! All right, but I guess oh wait, there we go. While we're talking about outlandish quarterback trades, the Seahawks. I mean, of course,
it's aged better than fine wine. It's aged better than fine wine for them.
Yeah, well, we're saying this year one, of course, but
yeah,
I mean, Geno Smith was a top 5, top 10 quarterback statistically last year. Completion percentage, yardage, I think he broke the Seahawks single season yardage, passing yardage record,
which is really crazy.
Yeah,
given that Russell Wilson played there for 10 years,
I did it in 1 year. Yeah, I picked Geno Smith off waivers for fantasy. I had Aaron Rodgers at quarterback last year, and then I just ended up starting Smith for the rest of the season because he started playing so good. You would have been
screwed if you had Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers.
No, I didn't have Russell. So I just had Aaron Rodgers, and then I signed Geno Smith just I wasn't even looking, but I just saw him available, and I was like, well, why not? And then he just started playing so good. He was already playing good, and then he started playing better. I was just like, all right, let me start him. But I mean, speaking about Geno Smith, though, I mean, can he keep that up?
Think,
that was a spectacular
he's great. Yeah. I mean, he has
and of course, news with the Seahawks. Devin Witherspoon, the
finally signed
pick of the draft, finally signed his rookie contract.
They're basically right now the Seahawks are basically trying to do what they did in the early 2010s. They're trying to recreate the Legion of Boom, quite literally. I mean, you pass on
the secondary looks really good.
Arguably the best. You're passing on arguably the best defensive player in the draft for and Jalen Carter for Devon Witherspoon. So remember those Legion of Boom teams. They didn't have that one stud guy at a defensive tackle. They had guys everywhere else. So
can you imagine this though? Can you imagine if the Seahawks drafted Christian Gonzalez at 5?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if I were the Seahawks manager, general manager, I would have traded. Devin Witherspoon's obviously available, but if you could take Gonzalez later, if you could trade down and still get him, that would have been great. But I know Arizona traded 2 top 35 picks to go up to 6. So Seahawks could have done that, they would have been even better off. So that's the one question mark I have on their defensive side. Defensive line, I think they have a pretty good edge players. I think Uchenna Nwosu. And I think they drafted 2 edges over the past 2 years. They can do that. Other than that, the only question is Jamal Adams. I mean, traded
Jamal Adams is awful.
Yeah, you traded an entire boatload of treasure for him, and he's shown you
that trade
nothing
without even blinking an eye.
I mean, they got Garrett Wilson, they got Elijah Vera Tucker out of that, and you guys you shouldn't have done that in hindsight. You could have been better off drafting Kyle Hamilton or somebody instead.
No,
that was stupid.
Jamal Adams was good because the Jets' defense was good.
Yeah, and then after that, he's just he hasn't stayed healthy. He can't make plays. That was a huge disaster.
I mean, until 2 or 3 years ago, Jamal Adams. Adams had he's been in the league since what 2016
2017 yeah 2017, remember they took him over. The Jets took him over Mahomes.
Keep in mind this Patriot retired. I mean, he played with the Texans in his last game. He retired in 2017. Until 2020, Vince Wilfork had more interceptions than Jamal Adams. And Jamal Adams, I don't know. You only play the safety. You'd think you'd wrap up a couple more interceptions. Vince Wilfork, a defensive tackle, had more interceptions than Jamal Adams. If that doesn't tell you that Jamal Adams is nothing but a walking pile of garbage, I don't know what does.
This is his last year, honestly. They gave up way too much for him, they turned that, this Jets did magnificently.
You traded 2 first-round picks for Jamal Adams. You lose all the negotiation rights in terms of contract agreements. You had no choice but to give him that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
You try to justify stupidity with more stupidity in the hopes that the return on investment pays off. You're just constantly playing blackjack at the casino.
Yeah.
And you keep losing on the hand, but you have this foolish, stupid thing in your head where you're like, I can just win this. I've only been off by a little bit. Yeah. That being off by a little bit, and you're playing that round and you're playing that hand like 15 times over. That little bit is going to amount to a lot bit. So the Seahawks, their window, like they're only building it right now, but it's like you probably could have kept the window open for Russell Wilson for another year or two if you weren't so damn stupid with Jamal Adams.
Yeah, I agree. Because like you could have had 2 top 10 picks with it because if you didn't trade for Jamal Adams. So that was remember that turned out to be picks 9 and 10, right? They 9 they got Charles Cross. 10th, of course, the Jets took Garrett Wilson, who was just voted, I think, top 75 in the league. So that was a bad trade. But other than that, let's talk. They're good. Like
their roster looks really nice right now.
Yeah, I think their tackles are great. I think they, address a lot of the interior lineman questions. They brought back Bobby Wagner.
Have a solid wide receiving core. Like
they have
Metcalf, Lockett, JSN.
Metcalf and Lockett. That's all, and of course the JSN, their recent draft.
That was a great.
Yeah, I know that's a great pick.
Almost every team, every team wanted him, and the Seahawks, just like did nothing and got him at 20. So that was pretty impressive.
I was hoping he'd fall a few more picks to the Giants spot, but I mean, I like Deontay Banks. I was hoping for
more talent falling to the Giants.
I think it worked out pretty well with getting with Hyatt in the 3rd round, and then Michael Smith 2nd round, and Banks in the 1st round. Yeah, let's get back to the Seahawks. Talented roster, and then a running back. Kenneth
they're
Walker,
definitely they'll definitely get second.
The Seahawks are on the
second in the West.
Like they're
building something.
I wouldn't bet against them to be second in the division. I would not bet against them.
They're kind of like
they're going to be second
in
the division. I don't see any way
with the Niners first. Yeah.
But like
the Cardinals last.
Yeah, at the same time though, right? They had at the same time though, they were like, they went down to the wire against the Rams team twice. That was really not good last year.
That's true.
Right? I mean, like they, Geno Smith had a game-winning drive in one game, and one with only about 46 seconds left on the clock, and then you had Baker throw the interception, and then in the second game.
I mean, but here's the thing though. Every one of these playoff teams last year has had those games where they've just been playing like inferior football against a trash opponent. I mean, you talked about this in the previous episode. Kansas City was garbage against Indianapolis last season. I don't know if you remember that. They were
that was because of their special teams. Their kicker could not.
Still garbage, and still they were held to under 20 points.
Yeah. Only team that
against
did that all
the
year.
Garbage Colts team. Garbage.
But they were healthy at the time. They had, I think, Shaq Leonard. They had so many good players then.
Doesn't matter. You're the Chiefs.
Yeah.
We lost, but hey, they won the Super Bowl, so Yeah.
So that's the thing. So let's focus on So they can they definitely 10-7. I definitely see 10-7. I don't think anything more than that.
10-7 is like written all over. Sure, something around. They're like that. They're probably in the same race for that last wild card spot, like the Lions, the Giants. Like they're kind of in that area.
They could win the division. I just don't see it. San Francisco.
It's gonna be hard. Yeah, the Niners are so good.
Yeah,
Seahawks should definitely be able to squeak into the wild card. But speaking of wild card, there's one team we haven't really talked about who has that potential. The Rams.
The Rams.
We haven't said it.
2 years off Super Bowl and 1 year off a miserable season.
They gave up a lot for one good season.
And they went all in.
Listen, I would do the same thing. I'd go all in for that chance at the Super Bowl.
I mean, I really liked it. I thought it was like an interesting thing to do. But
I was on the wrong side of it this past season. The Bruins went all in for that last push for the Stanley Cup championship, and we failed Patrice Bergeron. I'm sorry, Bergie. Happy retirement. Thank you for everything you've contributed to the Bruins. But here's the thing. As a fan, you want those push-ins. Like you're like, This is our last chance. Push all the chips to the table. Go all in. Screw the other guy at the table. Like, screw them. Do whatever it takes to get there. And Stan Kroenke, after and I mean, like, we've seen teams do this before. Like, they're blinded by that short vision, and they just keep doing everything to get back there, and they never do. Case in point, you guys remember the 2012 Detroit Tigers? They made the World Series, and then they lost in the ALCS the next year against the Red Sox. Then they're just doing everything in their power to get back there, and they never did. Like, so the Rams, they almost
gave up everything. Like,
let's talk about 2019.
Jalen Ramsey, OBJ. They actually do have some pieces left over from that roster, actually, but yeah.
But like, let's talk about the Rams when they lost the Super Bowl against the Patriots. Like 2020, they're making a push. 2021, making a push. 22, they said, Jared Goff, thank you for your services. Get the hell out. You're going to Detroit now. They traded 2 first-rounders for Matthew Stafford. This was their last chance right here. Like, you have a nucleus of that, and of course, this is probably your last chance to get Aaron Donald a ring and everything.
Another ring.
And of course, Andrew Whitworth, very underrated player. And they do it. Like, as a fan, you want those all-in pushes, especially when you know some guys are on their last heels. Of course, because of the lack of draft capital. Not that stopped the Rams. From 2017, they haven't had a first rounder, and right now, assuming they don't trade this, their 2024 first round pick will be the first round pick the Los Angeles Rams have had in 7 years. The fact that the team has stayed really good for 7 years without a first round pick, that's a testament towards
coaching. That's coaching and front office work. And
Les Snead is a very good GM. Like, but case in point now, like, you've had the fairly crappy season. Like, Super Bowl hangover was real. Like, there's no arguing against that. Now the Rams didn't really have a whole lot of draft capital this past draft either. So this is probably going to be another rough season, and I anticipate Matthew Stafford's not going to be around that much after, he's definitely going to be here this season. Next season, I have no idea.
Aaron Donald, they've already tried to move him, right? They've already tried to move him, restructure his contract.
I don't think they tried, but
they took calls on him, and they tried to restructure his contract. Obviously, he said no to both of that, so they had to draft, 35-year-old Stetson Bennett. So
now the question: will Aaron Donald be around after next season? I have no idea, because I think he's contemplating retirement. He's contemplating retirement after the Super Bowl win. So
you're right.
I don't know what to think of the Rams.
They could be very good. They could be very bad. I think
they're a wild card.
I think the best they'll probably be is 9-8. The worst I could see is like maybe like 6-11. I don't really have a whole lot of faith in the Rams. That's another thing we didn't talk about right there. Even Sean McVay was contemplating if he's going to walk or not.
We
have a head coach who's got 1 foot out the door. You've got a quarterback who might have 1 foot out the door. You've got Aaron Donald who already has 1 foot out the door. That kind of sounds like a recipe for
disaster.
It's about to sink.
Yeah. So obviously, they shouldn't do that.
I don't really have a whole lot of faith in the Rams. I mean, I could very well be wrong.
I agree. This is a team that could either, make a lot of noise or just like make a squeak. So it just depends.
No, this team is not. The thing is, the Rams, they're not boom or bust right now. They're kind of stuck in the middle between do we make a push or do we stay crap right now and build for next year?
Yeah.
At least the Seahawks have the argument of saying, let's make a push. At least they have their argument. The Rams, I don't know. I don't know what to make of the Rams. I really don't.
I agree. So I think division rankings
on the Rams. I mean, I think you're right. They're not as boom or bust. Like, they're kind of trying to, I guess, rebuild. I mean, I kind of like their offense. They still have Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson, Ben Skowronek, Tyler Higbee. They have Cam Akers, Sony Michel, Matthew Stafford. They did lose some pieces.
Cam Akers was not good last season.
Who? Oh, Cam Akers. Yeah, Akers. I mean he wasn't great. That's true. But I mean he's capable. He's not great. But I mean they still have some pieces. I still feel like they're gonna be behind the Seahawks and the Cardinals. I mean, well, not the Cardinals, the Niners and the Seahawks, and then they'll be third. I think you guys are probably about right with where that record is. I mean, it's interesting to see how quickly they fell off, but at the same time, they did invest a lot into that Super Bowl, and like a lot of those guys walked. So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see for sure. But I guess we could do the division, the division rankings now.
Or should we do floor and ceilings for each team? I mean,
sure.
I think
I guess so.
I think we can all agree who's winning the NFC West, barring a very shocking circumstance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Niner gang probably. Yeah.
They're probably the only
for San Francisco. Yeah. Is 9-8 and then 13-4 what they did last year. I think Seattle.
I would second that. I would second.
Yeah, Seattle floor 8-9, ceiling 11-6 maybe. They're just their schedule's just like that. LA a floor 5-12, a ceiling 8-9 or 9-8, and then Arizona floor 0-17, ceiling
5-12.
5-12, 4-13. Yeah, they're not gonna be good. Like so I think those. Yeah, all right. That's about it.
I agree fully with that.
All right. Yeah, I mean,
it'll be interesting. Which teams can make the playoff. Yeah. I think only Seattle and San Francisco can make the playoff.
The Niners and Seahawks. I guess real quick. The Rams. No particular order. 9-8 ceiling, floor 5-12 Seahawks. Ceiling 11-6, floor 7-10. Cardinals ceiling 5-12, floor 2-15. And the Niners ceiling 14-3, floor 11-6. If the Niners don't beat the Eagles in the NFC, I don't know who will, and I really hope they do. But if not, the Chiefs will probably take care of them.
I think other than that, Seattle has a chance to beat them. Minnesota.
I mean, in the regular season, sure, but like I'm talking about
Minnesota. Minnesota are frauds.
No, Minnesota's not. Seattle might. There's probably going to be a loss in Dallas during the regular
season. Their defense,
the Chiefs, maybe the Bills, maybe the Bills, maybe the Dolphins. That's probably about it for the Eagles. But
no, the Bills are also frauds.
In the regular season. Yeah. Well, anyway. Yeah. Fun to talk about.
That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely a good show. We'll have to see what happens. But that's been the NFC West recap. And next week we will do probably the NFC North and AFC South. So see you then and enjoy your week.